We are Flake, Rose, and Spears, and we are Supremely Black, dropping content that matters. How y'all doing this week, fellas?
Doing all right, but I want to change up a little bit. We come on here every week and say, how are we doing this week? But what about your mentals? How is your mentals doing? I start off with me first. Mentally, I'm cool, can't complain, doing better than I was maybe a few weeks ago. Just be glad, so. Better than I was maybe a few weeks ago. I'm going through a little bit of a down period. Everything is gonna open up now. Having family around you and talking through some stuff and shoot, have family up this weekend and anybody who know my Aunt Deborah is a powerful praying woman and she got to praying and got me in an even better mood and just feeling in love from family and everybody being around. Help their mental status get up a little bit. But mentally, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not between O and K, like I said a few episodes back, down and dumps. But I'm doing good. I can't complain. I'm doing good. Positive thoughts to help get out the little dumps a little bit. Did a little, whether it be just listening to some music, riding around listening to music, having positive thoughts, or reading affirmations, or going for a long walk. Me and the wife just sitting chit chatting, whatever positive link I could have, a connection, kind of help get me out there a little fun. D Rose.
Yeah, that's actually dope to hear, man. Honestly, it's been the last 2 or 3 weeks since I made the big decision to leave corporate America. This is probably the most relaxed, focused, confident that I've been in a long time. I was actually sharing this over the weekend. It was shocking. I mean, it's still early within the stages, so of course I know I go through a range of different emotions, just getting used to pretty much providing for myself and not necessarily depending on a check. But from a mental standpoint, I honestly haven't felt this good in years, to be for real with you. Probably north of 5 years, because it's just been a lot from, moving from different cities, family issues, just personal issues myself. So I really appreciate you asking, but this is the best that I've felt in a long, long time. Just stress-free, locked in, connected with the right people, with the right amount of focus, but also not to be left out with the right amount of, self-care and prayer has but guided me through the tough times and the challenges. But I look at it now from a perspective of taking it head on and looking at it from an optimistic side of it, instead of it just being, what's the worst that could happen or what could happen next. So I'm great. I can't complain at all, man. How about you, Spirit?
For me, I guess it's a little bit more complex of an answer, just because right now I would say I'm good and I'm doing real good. But as you stated, Flake, I would say the past couple weeks or whatever, I have wavered and seesawed from being good to not being so good to being good to not being so good. And I believe I said this before on one of our episodes, like I suffer from depression at times. So I go through depressive states sometimes where I just get down, or when I think about where I want to be to compared to where I'm at, and how that, I guess that becomes heavy on me, on my heart and my mind. And so then it changes my mood and my mindset and just my state of being. So I have been going through that the past, I'll say the past month or whatever, just seesawing and teetering back and forth. But right now I'm good. I'm not going to share what I shared with y'all and what I asked y'all to jump on board with me with to the whole world, because some things just need to be kept quiet until you actually going through and doing it, walking into that. But that has been something that has been refreshing and relieving, just to be that intentional and just to say, fuck it, why not go for it? Like just go for it, and don't live in fear, don't live in uh apprehension. Just just walk your life and live your life fearless, but intentional and with knowledge and wisdom. Again, not being naive nor ignorant going into things, but making sure that you do your research, communicate properly, you know, get you a good team to form around you and all that other stuff. So that has been refreshing. Another thing that will be refreshing, and they have till the 21st to get back to me. If not, they got to get back to me as soon as I call or whatever, is when the IRS get back to me about this 501c3 thing. And once that gets done, it's up, because there'll be no limitations or hesitations as far as what we could do with the nonprofit and what we could get allotted to us from grants, philanthropists, donations, and things of that sort. And so that's something that's really been heavy on me too, because it's like I applied for this way in April, and here it is July, and I get it, they slow because of COVID, but the world back open now. So like, what's the issue? But I just have to be patient, and I have to understand God's timing and everything. And then what Rose said as well, something that I haven't been on, and that's why the episode that we're not doing today, that's why I wanted to talk about it and brought it up, is because I have been lacking in my prayer life, and I just wanted to see, like, what y'all thoughts on, like, how serious is it for you and all this other stuff, to get in that conversation. But we decided as a group that we're going to save that for its own episode, and maybe also have a guest come on. But that's something that was really heavy on me. So I wanted to get that communication. So maybe y'all could be encouragement to me to be like, nah, you need to get on your shit, Chris, and all this other stuff. Cause I've really been slacking with that. But that's something that I know that I need to be more intentional and more uh no zero tolerance as far as missing it and skipping that part of my life. So that's where I've been at.
I will say this, since we're pretty much already then kind of jumped into like a different way of doing it, which I appreciate Flake for doing. We can go ahead and cover that, because I think it's just, as we started off with a mental space, if that's something that you need to kind of release into the air, I think it's a much needed conversation. Even though we had talked about having a guest on, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to dictate or just kind of cater to them just because that particular individual may come on due to their profession. So I would kind of just kind of hand it off to you of like, what's on your mind in regards to that, because I think this is a real organic conversation and we could just throw a curveball and just go with it. What's been on your mind with that?
So well, I was just gonna start off with uh the first question that I was gonna ask is, are you more spiritual versus religious? And then if so, how spiritually connected are you to whoever it is that you may serve or may believe in? And then what do you do to make sure that you are checking off the boxes daily to make sure that that's something, a part of your life, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whether it's reading, whether it's fellowshipping with other people or whatever the case may be? What exactly, is there a routine that you have, or is it just something that, because again, I know we all fall short of whatever. So some days we might accidentally have a mental lapse, or even not even a mental lapse. We know we need to do it, but we say we'll do it tomorrow and put it off. Like, but how much in how much time do you give to that part of your life, and to connecting your spiritual in order to allow the rest of your man to function and flourish?
I say I'm more spiritual than I am religious. I think when people get to fighting in a religion realm or whatever, and this is my thoughts, that religion is man-made around certain rules, around what era, what person, or what king, queen, or whatever person leader at that time was like, oh, we're gonna put certain rules around certain religions or this, that, and the other, whether you be, you be Methodist, Baptist, Pentecostal, whatever it is, the religion is. It always didn't make sense to me growing up because, okay, we reading from the same book, but all these different religions got different rules on what you cannot wear, who women can only wear a dress and can't cut their hair. Men got to wear a certain thing. Not able to do this. Not able to do that. This, that, and the other. And I just got turned off because it's like, why is there so many rules when you break down religion, but everybody claim to be serving this one higher power, but one group might not like the other group. Oh, it's them over there. Oh, it's them over there. Oh, it's like, bro, it just didn't add up. Didn't make any sense to me. I'm on a spiritual level because like I said, between you and your God or whatever you believe in is pretty much what I pray to, the higher power that I believe in each and every day, and the spirituality is within you. Um, so yeah, spirituality is within you. So you have to take that regardless of you can go to whatever religious church you believe in. However, it's still between you and your God when you go to sleep, when you wake up in the morning, there's fighting within you. Fellowshipping is good. Uh, getting other people's perspectives, talking to other people, seeing their views. Be careful who you have pray for you. Be careful who you have certain conversations with, even when it comes to religion, because they can be feeding you a bunch of bad information. Um, so I'm more on a spiritual end. I don't know how much time I put on, to be honest with you, because I'm real random with it. I try to make my attempt to pray 4 and 5 times a day. Usually, I don't have a set schedule on that, but the only set schedule time I have is in the morning time and before I lay down and go to sleep. Those two are scheduled. Anything in between that, it can be at any point in time during the day. I am one of those people that you might see me talking to myself, but I ain't really talking to myself. It's just me basically talking out loud to the God that I believe in, and me and him or her having that conversation during that time. And sometimes I get some great thoughts off from that. Sometimes it's calming. Sometimes it, stop me from making stupid decisions. Um, some people say they can't hear it, but sometimes, like Big Crit said in one of my favorite songs, he said, I've been talking to God, but I don't hear him talking back. But sometimes you got to sit still to hear that talk back. You too busy running around doing this, that, and the other. You put them into the back seat instead of passenger side, where you can't hear me running around with the music blasting in the back seat. When you're on that passenger side, you kind of sitting still and kind of listening. You can hear it talking to you. That conscious, when that conscious get wrecking your brain, get to thinking, yeah, that's God talking to you. Whether you believe it or not, that's God talking to you. But some people don't see that. But I'll let y'all go on with that. But that's pretty much from the starter point. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, for me, I'm definitely more spiritual than religious. I believe that there is a God, but I think, like, to Flake's point, and not just to kind of piggyback off of it at all, to me, the religion part of it has created a lot of divide. I think there's a lot of different rules, there's a lot of different beliefs behind it. And my overall perspective has always been, since I was younger, if there is one God, I've never understood the differences between religions and why is it such of importance to, for lack of a better word, shame others if they do believe in something different than you, if you all believe that there's one God. But I pray at least 4 to 6 times a day. Definitely when I wake up, definitely before I go to sleep, before every meal, whether it's a small meal, anything like that. But the most important part, I think, is since I've been through therapy and realized some of my challenges from, like, depression and just past occurrences of just life itself. I found that prayer helps me collect myself and find to tap into my inner God, which has helped kind of chill my spirit, because a lot of times that you're just moving off of, your flesh instincts, may not be morally of how you set up. You're just really, you've allowed something to emotionally take control of you. And I just always want to be emotionally in charge of myself. So that's the reason why I may randomly throughout the day just pray. Of course, people that do know me, I meditate. Reading is definitely therapeutic as well, but I also use, just clean, good music sometimes is just uplifting, just anything to really just kind of tap into my inner self, just to kind of get away from the world, or just depending on worldly things to change my mood. Because I remember previously, prior to, therapy, I would either turn to, smoking or drinking just to kind of ease the pain or get away from my real truth. But prayer has helped me rest with that, not necessarily set in it for better or for worse, but it definitely just helps. So that's my thoughts on that. And that's just, and not to knock anybody that's religious, but I just think it's created more of a divide than it's united people.
As for me, as far as spiritual versus religion, I would say I'm 50-50. And the reason why I say that is because religion sets up the structure, or the base, as I would say, or the guidelines or the rules. Spirituality is something that's on you, that you know that you have to do for yourself, and have to connect with the higher power and God. And so therefore, that's a discipline thing. That's something that's discipline. Religion is more like, okay, we got church on Sunday, Wednesday, Bible study or Tuesday, or whatever the case may be, and all of this other stuff. But that helps you get in line to your discipline and your structure as far as your spiritual self and your spiritual awakening or relationship. And so I would say I'm 50-50. The thing that I lack on, because the way that y'all put it, when y'all put it like that, I do pray quite often, if we're just saying, like, thanking the Father for waking me up this morning, and then thanking him for letting me rest and watching over my loved ones and family. And then also, like, I'm a big gospel person. So I just listen to gospel, and I worship a lot. And so when I worship, I'm also praying and meditating at that time, talking to the Lord, or listening to his voice or whatnot. And so I do that a lot. But when I was talking about praying, I meant like them prayers that I guess Aunt Deborah would do. Them prayers that you see in your big mama and grandmama, and you seen your parents probably do or whatnot, and you seen, your relatives or whoever it was do. Those are the prayers that I'm lacking. And I think my problem is, because I know the source of where my strength and everything comes from. As far a perfect example, like, we're doing the podcast, we're intentional with doing it. We come on a set day, drop it on a set day, we do it, we make sure we communicate about what we're talking about and all of this stuff, and we go in, and then we decide to to go with the flow, or we decide to stick on topic, or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to my spiritual life, I don't have that same, I guess, schedule. Like, I don't schedule, so it's just a lot off key. But I feel like sometimes I need to schedule it, or not even schedule it, but spend the time that I do with him as I do with others. And so, because I allow other things to be more time consuming than I do with my spiritual walk, I know that I'm missing something in my life. And so that's my thing right now, is just giving him the time that he deserves versus giving him them 5-minute prayers or them 10-minute prayers or whatnot, when I could, be talking to Rose or in the text thread with y'all or whatever for 30, 40 minutes. We might be talking about some real stuff, and then we also might be shooting the shit and talking about nothing. But then when I pray to God, it's a rush through prayer and all of that stuff. And so that's my biggest thing, because the way that y'all put it, I do pray often, but I would just like to spend more time with him. But a lot of times I let life get in the way. And that's my biggest thing, that I just act like I'm too busy for him or her, as y'all stated.
And I appreciate you for sharing that, bro. Because I think that's a vulnerable state. So I would ask you this, because since you mentioned it as how much time do you spend with him, my question for you is that how much time do you spend with yourself? Because that's when I find myself spending more time with God or finding spirituality and things like that. So when I'm here, if I turn off the Xbox, turn off the computer, close the laptop, may burn an incense, burn a candle, I'm just being intentional in regards to my thoughts. But how often do you really just say to yourself, okay, I'm spending this amount of time with myself today?
I don't spend no time with myself.
Yeah.
I was never, let me really think before I say that. I don't think I was ever taught to spend time with myself. Like, I've seen my parents go and open the Bible and spend time in the Word or pray and stuff like that, but I don't think I've ever seen them like what you would call like spend time to themselves, where they just sit in silence or in peace or something. And they could be praying or they could not be praying, but just like spending time with yourself, I don't know what that looks like. Because one, and this is why, remember when we had the episode about meditating, and me and Flake said that our minds wander and everything. So that's why meditation is hard for me, because if I try to spend time to myself, I'm gonna start thinking about A, B, C, and D, E, F, G, or thinking about what I didn't accomplish today, or what I could have done today, or the nonprofit, or sports, or anything like. So that's the thing. And I know you gave me some advice on how to meditate and everything, and I did use it, and it worked for a little bit. But sitting still, I guess, unless I'm asleep, is hard for me. Just to sit still is hard for me. So I don't know what that looks like, to be honest. Like, I don't know what that looks like by spending time with yourself.
I'll say this: what got me spending time with myself is uh, when I first moved by myself. When I was living alone, it was like I would have no choice sometimes to spend time by myself. Sometimes I wanted that time by myself. Now that I'm married, 3 kids, I intentionally make time for myself. Sometimes my wife get pissed. She be like, "You don't go to bed." But however, my thing is, after y'all go to bed and the lights cut off, I get that little 15 minutes of peace by myself. Or I crawl in the bed well after she's sleeping. I know she is. And I get that little 15, 20 minutes of peace to myself. And yeah, we had that conversation about meditation and just sitting by ourselves. And I'm still like that. If I sit by myself, so I get to think about A, B, C, D. But what I have realized is sometimes I'll be in the car and I turn the music on and I can't even tell you the last 3 songs to play because my mind will go into a state of thinking of what's going on. Or like I said, you hear me talk. Well, I said I talk to myself, and God and I are talking, and I couldn't even tell you the last 3 songs. I put on the interview, and I have to go back and listen to the interview again because I get lost in my thoughts and all that, and I won't even. And I when I get out of it, I be like, I ain't heard nothing they said for the last 15 minutes on this interview. So if it's an interview I really want to listen to, I just go back some other time and listen to it while I'm working. But I just figured out that that's what worked for me. And meditation is different for everybody. Some people can. I had one of my aunts tell me, just go in there, shut down everything, cut the TV off, just listen to silence and this, that, and other. Yeah, that don't work for me. I do too much running around for that to work because, like you said, Spirits, if I sit there for too long, I'm going to sleep if it's dead silence. But for some reason, if I just get some noise in the background, I can just zone out at some point in time and get to thinking about something else. It's kind of like a situation that people go to sleep with the TV on and the TV can be playing, but if you hear a noise in your house is out of whack, you will hop up over and that'll be louder than the TV. And it could be some small noise, but it's outside the normal noise. And you will pop up, be like, what was that? So that's kind of how meditation works for me and kind of get in my zone. I'll be up here sometimes, my time by myself, say, hey, I'm gonna watch this TV show and zone out on that TV show and be thinking about something else. And I'd be like, you know what? I'll just watch this some other time and just zone out. That's my process of meditation. It don't work for a lot of people probably, but for me and the way my mind is set up, and it might be a little different. I don't know, because my mind's already different because I'm a comedian on top of that. So I don't know. It just what works. It just works for me. We can't be the only ones.
I think a lot of people think that meditation comes with complete silence. I don't necessarily do that because I could actually pull up something on YouTube on my phone and find frequencies, and I would look for the exact frequency that I'm looking for, and it's like a little beat or it's like a little high pitch, low tone, and it's just a vibration, and you just get to connect with the vibration, so you're not completely sitting in silence. So your mind is not just, you can't hear your thoughts, and that sounds weird, but once you start really just sitting with yourself, you will hear your thoughts and just like, I'm thinking about this, or what is bro doing, what is my sister doing, mama, grandmama. But like when I'm listening to frequencies, it just takes me to a different place because it's just very tranquil. So I'm just calm. So it's not necessarily that I've shut down the world. It's just I'm able to use my mind to control my body, to sit still in whatever space that I'm in, whether that's a good mood, bad mood, high emotion, low emotion, that type of thing, or I could just be sitting still. It's just to take my mind to a different place to where I'm able to say that I spent time with myself intentionally. And it doesn't matter how it comes, because what I've realized is that when I do that, I'm able to process my thoughts and I'm less emotional when I react to certain things when I've spent that time. And I can tell when my day is bad, is like, I need to take a 15-minute nap, or I need to just get away from the world. Those are the things that I do. Necessarily sitting and still, sitting and quiet, I wouldn't say will necessarily work for anybody that's busy, especially since you all have kids and things like that, that might not be realistic. You'd probably be, it'd be weird for the time being. You just go out for an hour every day and they just like, what you doing type of thing. It'd probably be more questions than you realizing that it's peaceful for you, but it could be deemed as selfish with a family. But I just think that's a key part of Spirits, is that if it's so uncomfortable to a point where you couldn't even think about spending time with yourself, I know it helped me. So I'm just sharing my advice that helped for myself, is that, working from home, I wanted to get out and be amongst people, but I realized that I was starting to put myself on the back burner just to be social, which is trying to mask something else instead of me really just dealing with the things that I was going on within my inner self and not just what I put out to the world. So that helped for me. So, I mean, you could try, I would say baby steps, go say 5 or 10 minutes or a break you got at work and you just want to just disconnect and just see how it feels just to be focused on you for like 5 to 10 minutes, phone on do not disturb, sit right beside you, maybe set an alarm. That's how I started doing it. And I just started in increments, just increasing time, and went from 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 to now I could get to about 30. And I couldn't tell you anything that happened in the world for about those 30 minutes, because I'm just really just focused on what's my thoughts. And when I get out of it, out of that space, I just get up and the things that really just did not leave my brain, I would just write it down on something that I just need to probably get better at, because from a spiritual perspective, I think that that's just what God is telling me that I need to focus on, because disconnected from the world, but this was still my thought process. So it had some level of importance that it didn't escape my mind within that downtime.
So my next question would be, is there a time that you know that your spiritual connection saved your life or kept you out of harm's way or trouble? But that's still harm's way, but yeah.
I can't think of only one particular time I can think of, and I say just about every day. Because I've been situations I could have, well, I ain't gonna say every day, but it could be situations I could have clicked off and did some stuff. I'm one of them people who try not to get angry, because when I get angry, I really get angry. So I try to stay calm or whatever. And that's why a lot of people say I'm nonchalant in some way, because I don't let certain stuff bother me, because I feel like it ain't worth it. Because if I get really mad, it's gonna be a problem. I remember one point in time getting a fight with somebody, and we got to fighting, and I went home, grabbed a bat, and my mom said I looked at dead, and my mom asked what I'm doing. I said I just want to kill him, and that's it. And I was like, oh, I must have checked out, because I don't remember that part even happening. But so I try to just stay chill. But one particular time, I can say I was working third shift at Wilson Sporting Goods, making golf balls. It was a summer program for I went to college, and I was in my old '86 Grand Prix hitting the back road, and some just spoke in one of them situations where I had just checked out and was thinking. And I turned on the back road. And as soon as I hit the back road, I heard a voice say, "Put your seatbelt on." Put my seatbelt on. I probably got about another 8, 9 minutes down the road. A deer, something ran in front of my car. I swerved to try to miss it. Went to a embankment, hit concrete head on, flipped the Grand Prix, landed in the sticker brow bush, hopped out, and was able to run out in the pitch black country, find somebody's house. I passed about 3 houses. Some told me stop at this house. Stopped at that house. Come to find out it was one of my classmates' house. Didn't know they lived there. And their parents was able to, help me, get me situated, let me use their phone, this, that, and the other, because to be honest with you, it was what? I was working second shift, about 2 something in the morning. That's when I had braids, and I'm taking them halfway down, come get my hair rebraided in the morning. So I'm driving and taking them down. So I got half braids, half fro. Black man knocking on your door 2:30 in the morning, looking crazy in the middle of the daggum country with no street lights. and yeah, I got to give that up to high power, because one of them times I didn't really wear my seatbelt like that. It was during that time I'm wearing my seatbelt every day like that. I wasn't, and some told me as soon as I got on that back road, "Hey, put your seatbelt on," and I did it. And it was 5 minutes later, I was flipped over in the sticker brow bush, where I done hit me into a bank and hit concrete head on. I don't know. People call it what they want, but hey, I just gotta say, I was being looked out for on the real. But on a regular basis, yeah, I think my nonchalantness helped me out a lot with my spirituality when it comes, because I know when to take stuff serious and when stuff ain't in my control. I live by that. If it's not in my control, I'm not finna be stressing. I'm not finna be getting. There's a lot of stuff that ain't even worth doing things. Like I always say, don't make a permanent decision on temporary feelings. And I think in a situation like that is when people's spirituality kicking in, and your spirituality and God tell you like, bro, this some stuff you can just let roll, and you will be fine in a couple weeks, like in a week, maybe even the next day, maybe the next hour. It'll be an afterthought. So
Mine was probably about 2 or 3 months ago, maybe a little longer. I was out the night before, So I had left my gun in somebody else's car, and I was going to actually pick it up. And we went to this apartment complex, and I did not know the number. So I'm calling my partner. He didn't answer the phone. And this is right in the midst of the time I'm going through like severe depression, going through therapy and things of that nature. And this guy just runs up to my car, super aggressive, and was like, you know, you're supposed to do something. And my initial reaction, because you walked up on my window and it's 11 o'clock at night, would have been reach. But I don't know if you got it on you. I know I didn't have mine, but it was just initial reaction, right? But my overall thing was just, let me just roll this window up and just let him do his thing without me going to look like I'm reaching for something. But the best part of me is when it really got heated, is because I had to go and get out the car. I was like, you really got me effed up. And so he's running back to his car and somebody pushed a button. But I just collected myself within that thought, because I know what I would go back to the car for. But just me being able to just catch myself in that moment is like, it's not even worth it. Save me, because I know what I was going to do. I don't know what his intentions was. But if he would have caught me just in the moment that I was in, and just the rage and just his ethnicity, it'd have made the news. Like, if I didn't just think after I got out the car, it's like, okay, you done already went too far. But then he realized that I wasn't just no little person that you could just try to bully. Like, you're going to have to go on and do something. So he got to his car quick as hell. But I was just thinking to myself, and I told my partner, and he's like, bro, get a shot. I was like, but if I would have just been me in that moment, just thank God that that wasn't there, because he could have had it. But my thought process of just collecting myself saved it from being a highly escalated situation. You feel me? So I just thank God for that, for one, for it not being on me, but also after I had got out the car, just to let him know what was up, I was able to collect myself and just go ahead and just let that situation die. Because what was funny is that the apartment complex that I went into, he had to actually come around and was parking. And so he walking in the house, because it's like 15 of us outside, scared as hell. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you just had this big macho image because you let your ego take over within the moment, not knowing what you could have been faced with. You know what I'm saying? So, but even for me as well, because I don't know what your intentions was running up on my car at 11 o'clock. I don't know you talking about no gate code, you know what I'm saying? But just me being collectively who I am, I think that just saved me from going to the furthest extent, because I could have followed him to his car if I didn't collect myself. And in the moment I was in, I wouldn't have cared how it turned out. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that that was definitely it, because he looked like he wasn't no sucker. And I mean, I know who I am. So I would say that was one of the moments where you could just go off the deep end for no reason and just let it be like, okay, you just one of them trying to put on the flex. But, you know, needless to say, being collective and the control of your emotion stopped it from going any further than letting you know you just can't talk to me any kind of way. And I left it at that. You know, what about you though, bro? I'm pretty sure there's been some instances, but which one would you like to share in regards to one that's prevented it from escalating to a different situation?
I mean,
Spiritual was with him on that boat. We still don't know.
I mean, I have so many that yeah, I just got so many where God has intervened on my behalf to keep me. I'll say this, there was honestly a time in my life where I didn't think I was going to see 26, 27 years old. And so like, as I've shared, like I've been shot twice. The first time it was I'm trying to get I want to say the first one was like a centimeter away from shattering my pelvis, and I would have been paralyzed from the waist down. And then the second one was like, I want to say like a half an inch away from hitting a major artery where I would have just bled out. And so those are instances where God saved my life. But another instance where God spared me and nothing bad happened is like the second time I got shot. My aunt, and she's a pastor, a preacher, and everything. She came to my room because I was basically on bed rest. She came to my room and she said, "Nephew, you get shot one more time, I'm gonna have to bury my baby." And she's like, "That's hard for me to say because you know how much I love you and adore you." But she was like, "Your next time gonna be your last." So she was like, "I don't know what you're doing or what's going on or what's happening, but God told me to tell you this." And so my first time I got shot was 2009. My kids, I guess, was conceived at that time, my two oldest ones, but I didn't know. My second time was 2010. My babies was just born. So my children's birth, you know how sometimes God takes life away from you or brings you life or whatever. My children's birth is a direct message from God telling me to sit your ass down, to slow down, calm down, to listen to me and hear my voice, because he gave me something to live for outside of myself. And before I was just living for myself, doing my own thing, as I still don't care now because I'm a firm believer if it's your time to go, it's your time to go. So I'm very fearless in a lot of things still to this day. But at that age, I was, shoot, 20 times worse than I am now. And I know unless you know me and unless you knew me back then, you probably wouldn't believe it. But like I was just, I didn't have nothing to live for outside of myself. Not saying I didn't want to live or anything, not saying that at all, but there was nothing more for me to be like, say, calm down. You got to think about this, or you got to think about them. If this happened to you or whatnot, it was just me that I had to think about. So that was God blessing me and keeping me from death, because I I know, I can't even say I believe, I know that if I didn't have any children, I probably wouldn't be here right now. So that's why God intervened and impacted my life and did things for me. Uh, I guess my next question or my next ask is there anything that you need help with in your spiritual life that we could assist you with or we can hold you accountable on? Or, and I mean, I know everybody needs help. So again, I don't want you to just give an answer for the sake of giving an answer, because again, there are some things that we could all be better at. But I'm asking, is there something that you, just to go to Flake's point when he asked about the mental and the mental check-in and how we doing. So let's ask, how are you spiritually? And if you need assistance, can I assist you? Can Flake assist you? Can Rose assist me, or can Rose assist Flake, and vice versa, all the way around? Is there something that we can do to help each other to be the the man that our higher power created us to be, and to get to where we need to get to for our families, for our loved ones, but for ourselves?
I would say for me, and this is more or less is just something that I need to even be more intentional with, because I think something that I really got from you is that we do the quick prayers or the quick, acknowledgments of what's going on, but just being more intentional with it. So what I would challenge for the group is that since it seems as that we either we tap in, but we don't really just dive deep, or from your instance, you may not really just sit with yourself. I would say this: let's make sure that daily we check in to see, okay, how much time did you spend with yourself, for one? And then secondly, how intentional was your big prayer of the day? And then as we get better with it, we become more intentional with it. And we may not even need it daily, but just a daily check-in will work for me. Is just, have you spent time for yourself, one? And did you really get a real good prayer in and spend some time? Or was it just a quick, like a text message? Or did you really sit down like you're reading a book and being intentional with what you're even praying about or asking about, so that you feel fulfilled as you are, as you said, checking off those boxes within the day? What helped for me is that, because I do it, but I want to make sure that it means something. So somebody, even if you ask me, okay, so what did you actually pray about? I wouldn't be hesitant in regards to answering it, because I know for a fact that it was thoughtful, and I'm just going to spew out, okay, this is what I prayed about and this is why. And it could be a continuous prayer for a week or so straight, but it's just more or less of, I'm training my mind to get to that mind, that excuse me, training my mind or conditioning myself to always think of it. So almost like an affirmation perspective.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. A little check-in, whether it be daily, every other day, or whatever the situation is. Because sometimes as men, and I'm still speaking from a men perspective, like I had seen my brother-in-law this weekend, uh, and um, and I basically gave him a hug and told him, because he had a situation happen in his life, and I basically told him that most time when it come to black men, that people expect us not to have feelings, people expect us not to feel down, people expect us not to show emotions. And I basically just told him, anytime, he want to talk, he want to, just me come down and we just go shoot the breeze, ride around, go to the bar, have one drink and talk or whatever. Hit me up. I'm here for him or whatnot. And I think us as black men need to have that check in more often, and not even wait till something happens. And it made me realize that don't even wait till something happens. You know, we need to have this check in when we don't know what's going on. And that's kind of why I had said today was like, skip how a week went. And it was just on my mind that, how's everybody mentals doing, and just have a little check in real quick, where I'm not saying that whatever we had going on during the week don't matter. But I just felt like it's time for, just check in on everybody mental, see how you doing. Because people don't ask. I don't get asked. I can't say the same for y'all, but from my perspective, I don't get asked. I get asked, how you doing? And now I told one of my other comedian partners a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, that, I'm just mentally right now, I'm not feeling it. And that man gave me a hug, and I was like, cool. He was just like, bring it in. I was like, bet, and I felt it at the time. So, because sometimes we get lost, and I've been there as well, on where you feel a certain way of not knowing where to go or what to do, or you just kind of in the spin of the meal moment. I do make it intentional that my prayers be detailed, because I've learned that, in your prayers, if you beating around the bush with God, then your blessing that you looking for might not get answered, because you beating around the bush, or you might be cutting yourself short on the blessing because you wasn't detailed on what you really wanted. So if you want a house, say you want a house. If you want your house to have 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, well, you better bring that prayer to say, I want my house to have 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Yeah, he can bless you with a house. Yeah, but it might not be the house that you had your vision for. You might be cutting yourself short. It might be, a certain place you want to be in your career. And to you, it might, man, this might sound crazy. How am I be able to do this in 24 months? Now, be detailed in that if that's what you want. If you don't get it, don't mean that blessing in them 24 months, don't mean it might not come. You might not just be ready to accept it at that time. Instead of 24 months, it might be there in 32 months, or whatnot. So I do, I am, sometimes I will pray, and it be the text message prayer. But if I don't do it that one night, you best believe the next day I'm gonna have one that's intentional, detailed. Even my wife be like, it shows a long prayer over some dinner. And I look up like, well, sometimes it ain't just about the dinner I'm about to eat. So sometimes it hit me where I need to go a little bit detailed even though it ain't that I'm praying before I eat. It just that's how it started off, but that ain't the way it ended up being. And so that's how it is sometimes.
As for me, I would say the check-in, but then I would say even more, just keep me in your prayers because again, the check-in could be nice, but again, my connection with God is one thing. Y'all connection with God is another thing. And if we're all praying for each other, then we're all making sure we're connected spiritually or with our God and covering each other in whatever it is that is on our heart or God placed on our heart to cover each other about. So for example, like Rose, that situation you was in, it could have been a prayer from your mama the night before or earlier that day that said, God, just protect my baby and keep him out of harm's way and let his cooler hair prevail. And then boom, right there, you kept your cool head versus doing something how you would normally do it. Or even if you had your thing on you, is okay, I'm a make sure Rose lead us at his boy's house tonight because I know what's happening tomorrow. And so therefore, I'm not even gonna put my child in that situation. And then, lo and behold, you ain't got your strap because if you did, I know things might have went totally different, but that was God. So we just got to be mindful of the prayers that we plant are actually prayers that get answered, but then we might not realize the impact that they have, but the prayers that I'm praying for y'all or that our mothers and fathers and siblings and aunts and uncles are praying for us are actually keeping us safe and out of harm's way and successful or striving to be better and to do things because of just those prayers that they laid the night before and they put down before. So I would just say the check-in, but also just keep me in your prayers because I know that y'all are connected to a direct line to God. And so therefore, anything that y'all put up in the air to him will come down tenfold, 100-fold for whoever you're praying for. So I would just say that just to take it a step further.
Got you, my brother. Yeah, I definitely got you on that. I was not expecting this conversation to be as free flowing, as good as it was, because when you're vulnerable, I think it just kind of challenges you in a different way. So I definitely appreciate one for Flake starting it off like that, but for you saying that was really on your spirit to get that off, because without getting that off, man, that is a heavy, heavy, heavy weight on your shoulders. Like, you have no idea when your spiritual and your mental isn't clear, you just really just operate in the fog. You trying to be your best version of yourself, but that shit there eat away at you more than anything in this world to me. Like, if you got that mental block, you just existing. Like,
You ain't lying about that, because when I had that mental block, I had some performances that when I ate dog shit on. I'll be honest, I'm like, man, I don't feel like telling no jokes, but I'm going home and work it out, and I can tell the difference. Just up there eating dog shit. Like, we had a roast battle, and they'll tell you I'm one of the best ones in the city, the state. I lost all 3 rounds. I was like, bruh, I'm up here eating straight dog shit. I ain't feel like writing nothing. I ain't feel like doing nothing. I was like, man, I gotta get this monkey up off my back, dog. This ain't business not at all. So, you know,
and also
he can bear down.
yeah, and it's also a blessing that you can even realize that you're not operating at your full self. I think that's overlooked as well, because a lot of times people don't even realize it and they just keep trying to maneuver through that maze and you're not getting out of it. You're just gonna keep going deeper and deeper or hitting another curve or a wall or what have you. But I think, part of that blessing is that you're able to realize, let me stop, because I'm not getting anywhere. It's kind of like what they say, like a little hamster on a little wheel. that's all you're doing is just running in place. I mean, it may look good to the outside, but inside, you're pretty much, dying. You know what I'm saying? Really, in reality, if it would just be that truthful, is that you're not feeling fulfilled, you don't have that fire, you're not connected with people the way that you should. People may accept it, but again, I think, especially amongst Black men, we need to challenge each other more in that space. And to Flake's point, which I think is great, is not that it has to be something that happened. Like, just to kind of shout out to you brothers over the weekend, Aaron, Chris, and Spears. I think we all just had some very powerful conversations, which went from just shooting the bobos to, real deep, impactful things that are going on within our community, within our lives. Even some family perspective we might not have used like in exact names, but we was talking about different things that were just very enlightening on what people are going through and just how you may envision it. And it doesn't always have to be just complete vulnerability, but just asking, I think, goes a long way, because you'd be surprised at what you figured out. Just like if Flake didn't start off the podcast today with that, Chris would have just went on with the flow of the other topics, and he still would have tried to sleep, knowing that that's still something that he hasn't connected that dot to yet. So yeah, it's dope though.
Yeah. God works in mysterious ways.
Sure. Flake, it looked like you was cooking up the black person. Is that what you was looking at?
Nah, I had seen a message that popped up, but I ain't know where it came from. So I was trying to find it.
Okay.
I mean, I get it. I
Oh.
get it. I almost slick won't say at this conversation. I almost slick won't say I ain't got one. It's a straight, you know what I'm saying, 180 from what we was talking about. But we gonna do it anyway. Do it anyway.
But I'm gonna drop the Black Business Minute first. So we done for the topic tonight.
Yeah, I think we just hit right at an hour. And I think we got into that pretty good. That was pretty deep questions. I think everybody got. I gave mine. Let me speak for myself. I gave my perspective on those and the questions. So I'm content with this. I could rest well after I get my little meditation and prayer in. So I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that.
I'm good as well. So for our Black Business Minute this week, we have Confident World, and it's spelled KUNFIDENTWORLD. And so you can find them on on Instagram. I'm actually wearing a shirt right now. It's Black owned. It's actually one of my coworkers, but he has his own clothing line and everything called Confident World. So this is one of his shirts he made. Good quality tees, good stitching and everything. So I don't believe he has a website, but his name is Jeremiah Demine. And so he's out of the DFW Metroplex. And again, you can find him on Instagram at Confident World. And so he has his many different shirts and hoodies and stuff that he has up there. And again, it's a Black businessman trying to do things.
Supremely Black Person of the Week, I'm going with head coach Monty Williams of the Phoenix Suns, as he's made his way into the NBA Finals. Monty Williams played for the University of Notre Dame from 89 to 94 and was a first round draft pick to the New York Knicks. He played for the Knicks, the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Magic, and 76ers. He began his coaching reigns with the Portland Trail Blazers as an assistant, as a head coach with the Pelicans / Hornets, and also as assistant head coach with the OKC Thunder, assistant coach for the 76ers, and now the head coach for the Phoenix Suns. He is NBA Coach of the Year for this year in 2021. He has done an outstanding job with the Phoenix Suns, who was a team that Really, the Suns probably only been decent about a hot 5 years out of my entire life. And he has brought this team to the NBA Finals. He is one of the, I ain't gonna say many black coaches, but one of the black head coaches in NBA Finals. And anybody asks me, I'm rooting for in the NBA Finals. I'm rooting for the black coach. Ain't nothing else to talk about as far as they go. My team ain't playing, Grizzlies. So we rolling with the Suns because they got the black head coach. So our supremely black person of the week is the NBA player slash coach, Monte Williams. So shout out to him and what he's doing and bringing light to black head coaches that we can do this at the highest level. It's a damn shame we still got to prove that, but
I'm about to put you on the spot, Flake, real quick.
yeah.
Because it always kills me when people be like, I'm going for the black coach. But what if the
Yep.
other team got more black players?
I don't care. I'm going for the head coach.
Forget everything else that's black. I'll just go for the coach that's black.
I'm going for the coach that's black. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna give you a prime example. I probably ain't supposed to say this, and I don't sway my officiating any other way. But in my mind, I be like, "Oh, the black coach win." Like I had to officiate a game over weekend. Black head coach, whole team was white. Guess who I'm going for? Black head coach.
Yeah, we're gonna keep praying that comedic career keep pushing because he might not have an appreciated job after this.
I mean, I don't do it in flagrant call. I don't do any. It's not any judgment or calls, but I just look at him different. If I see a black head coach, I'll be like, yeah, your team better be good. It's already in my mind, like your team better be good off top.
So basically, let me help you out. So it sounds like you set the standard that the black coach has his team better prepared. You're not just saying just because he's a black coach, he should win as a referee.
I don't care. Either way.
It's a round, Spears. It's a round.
Like I said, I ain't gonna cheat for him or nothing like that, but just in my mind, I'm like, I hope they win.
Hey, Rose, he gonna be like, I should have listened to God telling me to keep my mouth closed before I said it.
Yeah. Hey, the moment he said, I probably shouldn't say this. Yeah. Let's go get Mr. Flake off this. He don't need this guy. Yeah. he gonna get all the black games, black coach, black players, everything. Now cheat. Yeah.
His next game he ref, the white head coach gonna call a timeout. He's gonna be like, can we get this ref off of here? I heard it. He ain't going for me. I'm gonna win.
Yeah, get him out of here.
Hey, and this team ended up losing. This team did end up losing. I just looked at him. I was like, I was so disappointed. I just looked at him.
I gave you a couple calls and everything. You still.
Well, I'm just disappointed. I was disappointed. This man he played college. He played D1 college ball. Played some minor league ball. He had that Ken Griffey Jr. build like he was an action figure. I'm like, this man, like he's still training to play today. You know what I'm saying? So I had the president like, hey man, this dude is your team. They better be good, dog. When they lost, I just kind of looked at
him.
Hey.
he had all the all of his players just didn't have the skill set.
Yeah, we're gonna go on and call Flake moving forward, man. Flake Donahue. Yeah. Flake Donahue. Yeah, we already know he.
Anybody betting on those summer league games?
Flake Donahue. Until we hear something different, Flake Donahue, man.
You can go ahead and close us out, Flake.
Hey, for all my kings out there, put your crown on, tilt that thing to the side, let them know you are a king. For all our queens out there, put your crown on, tilt that thing to the side, let them know you are a queen, and we are not 3/5 of anything. but we are supremely black, and we out.